Why do people fail when using consulting?
You have to make sure this is the right fit for you. In terms of the values, in terms of the methodology, you have to be all in.
Meet Adi Clevitt, an industrial engineer, business consultant, founder and CEO of Business Success Consulting Group. With over 25 years of experience, she has helped hundreds of businesses eliminate bottlenecks, streamline operations, and build sustainable systems that drive growth. She's also a host of Systems Simplified podcast, where she uncovers how leaders turn complexity into clarity and success into something repeatable. Adi, welcome. Hey everybody, welcome back to Never in Reverse. We are on guest episode 2. My name is Jeremy Axel. I am your host. Today we have a very special guest. Adi, welcome.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
So, where are you coming in today from? Where are you located at?
Portland, Oregon.
Ah, a little Oregonian. So
Yes.
am I.
Mhm.
I'm from Klamath.
Oh, wow. Okay. A little bit south of where I am, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you right now in Klamath Falls?
No. I grew up there.
Oh, okay.
So, well, Adi, one thing I want you to start off with, why do you feel that, just give the guests and the viewers one reason they should tune into this today? What's an important message that you think is why they should join us?
So they will basically drop the myth that documenting the processes in your company is hard and unnecessary. So if you think it's hard, unnecessary, or processes cannot be followed, then listen to our conversation. Hopefully by the end of it, you'll be convinced that it's actually not. You can actually do it.
Okay, and can you give the audience a quick background of you and your expertise?
Yeah, for sure. So my background, I'm an industrial engineer. So processes and procedures and optimization was what I've been doing for my entire career. And I started this company in 2011 to help companies grow and scale and become more organized. And then we specialize even more in creating, documenting, optimizing, and implementing processes and procedures.
Wonderful. Well, around that, we're going to kind of dive into the consulting side, which I have mixed views on, and I think that's just natural, right? I think there's good and bad, and I think that I'm ready to uncover, the greatness that you bring to this segment of the business. Rethinking today, we're going to we section this out, and so the first section of this is going to be rethinking consulting for modern business. Okay, in your view, when you're starting a consulting firm after working in corporate industrial settings, what have you seen? Like, what happened? What was the reason for this, for you to jump into that?
Well, I always was an entrepreneur. I had other couple of businesses, and I wanted to have my own company. I had my vision of how I want to help other people, and I wanted to execute upon it. And when you are a visionary and you have a vision, in my opinion, the best way to execute upon it is by having your own company.
Okay. What's the evolution that you've seen from like traditional consulting to basically transformation? I mean, because I have mixed views on the consulting side. I mean, I've seen some people that just come in and say they're business consultant, and then they don't provide any true value, right? Like, that's a tough one. I'm sure you see that all the time too. And it kind of puts this weird buffer on your segment of the business. So what have you seen with your perspective and how you approach the market? What does that look like?
It's a very good point. We approach it with ROI. So that's something that we establish with our clients to begin with. First of all, we deliver tangible results because we deliver playbooks, documented playbooks for companies. And we deliver flowcharts, and we deliver process maps that then they can take and create AI agents or automate, and we help them improve it as well. So it's a tangible, we don't just give the advice, we actually done it for you. And that is one of the main drivers for this company, how it evolved, is to get results, because me giving the advice, hey, you need to document your processes and procedures week after week, was not working. And I realized that I need to provide a solution on how to expedite it and how to actually get the results and the implementation. So that is one way of actually providing the results and done it for you. but combination with that is also getting the ROI, because we document processes and procedures for companies. My question at the beginning is always, how would you know that this actually works? How did you know that that was worth your investment? And there are a lot of subjective ways of looking at it, but the objective way of looking at it is an actual metric. So for instance, if we are documenting your returns, like let's say you are a manufacturer and there is returns that come in, we are documenting your returns process, and it takes a certain amount of days to process it. It's not as efficient. If we decrease that amount of days from, let's say, 10 to 5, as an example, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
That is an ROI, because then you can figure out like what is the cost savings when you do that. Or if we make it more efficient, as opposed to passing through 3 different hands, 3 different people, it's only one, and we automate it. How much money are you saving? If we help you train your people better, what does that mean? Like, how much time did you gain, and what do you do with that time, and how much that time is valued? So it's always looking at it from the perspective of the actual return on investment.
So, that approach is great. I think, and in my view of what I've seen is, do you ever have like the stakeholders when you come in and exploit those soft costs, right? They're hidden costs, right? Do you feel the pushback at times against the ROI? Because I think that would happen a lot. I've seen that a lot, where you're uncovering soft costs. They got employees hired. You come in and make something more efficient, and they're like, "Well, yeah, but I'm already paying that person," right? There's always these deviations of someone's perspective. I've seen it because I worked for a gentleman before, and he just brought in a consultant, and he couldn't position the soft costs that you would come in and basically show them how to get more efficient. They would just, it was like it didn't happen.
That's interesting. So you experienced that from that one experience that you have seen.
Yeah.
But, I think with my view of hundreds of companies, I think what was missing here from what I'm hearing is actually consulting with you and with the rest of the employees of what the benefit is. That's what we call the buy-in. You need to get buy-in. So if I were working with, let's say, that your previous boss, and with you, I would ask you, okay, Jeremy, what is it in for you? What is your return on investment? How would you quantify results? What would make you see results? And then I would work with that to get the return on investment.
Yeah. And I think that just goes into this separating really effective consulting versus surface level advice. And I thought, to be honest, we probably stayed on the surface, right? And I think that's probably why, the surface level advice is only going to get the buy-in so far.
Yeah. And you have to see what results, like, why are you bringing a consultant? I consulted. I have colleagues that I definitely very much appreciate the work, and they're creating great effects and great results, but it has to be result oriented. You have to define together with the client. It's a partnership. It's not, my approach to consulting is never to come in and say, this is the way it's going to be, and that's it, and this is the results, right? If it is a consultative, you work together, consulting, so you work together, and you define the product. What are we going for? And Jeremy, let's say you hire me as a consultant. You say, okay, Adi, I want A, B, and C. And I go, you know what? I can deliver A, B, and C for you. I can already see that this is going to be a failure to both me and you, because I'm not going to deliver what you want. So there's no point. And I'll tell it to you straightforward. I said, look, A, B, and C, not real. But this is what I can do, what we can do together if you participate as well. It's never just me and my team. We have to have participation. We have to work together. And you have to want it as much as we want it. We want it a lot, like in terms of like working with you. But if you don't want it, and if you're not ready to make the changes, and if you're not ready to work with us, then there is no point. It's not a collaboration. It's not a partnership. And I do see the consulting is like working together as a partnership. It's always partnering with our clients.
Yeah, it's collaboration versus correcting. Like, you can't just come in and correct everything, because there's not going to be the buy-in to move that process or change, right? If you're not collaborating with your clients, it's going to just sit. And that's what happened to that where I was at. They just stopped. It didn't do anything. And I think it just came down to that surface level advice, instead of really digging in and doing the consulting due diligence with collaborative environment, like getting the stakeholders in the department, getting their problems, and figuring out what that could really look like with change, right?
That's exactly right. And, and to your point, it's really this, it's like also your leadership style, the culture of the company. Because if you can't just enforce on people. You can have this, you can have that, one versus the other. You can't just enforce on people what you do. It just doesn't work. You have to work with them. You have to have them willing to do things. You have to make sure there is a buy-in and working collaboratively together. So just you as a leader, you're not going to just enforce, okay, this is the way it's going to be, and that's it, and you all follow. On the surface, now if you say yes sir or yes ma'am and just do it, but then behind it will just build all this resentment and all these counteractions that will lead you nowhere. So I think the question here is, why are you bringing on a consultant? What are you trying to achieve? What's your why? And actually, that's how we start an engagement, is like, why? Like for us, documenting. Why do you want to document? And if someone just say, well, I read it in a book, or I know I need to, I was told, that's not enough of a why for me, because that's not going to, the why is the thing that is going to push you all the way through the project to the ROI and the result. So the why has to be something that is, yes, I want to document my processes because I want to onboard 6 new people next week or next month, or in 6 months, we have, I'm going to open another location and I want to train everybody.
Yeah, and I guess, from your end, you gotta come in and build a ton of trust. You have to have a ton of empathy, because you're kind of walking into that entrepreneurs or the owners or an organization. It's their baby, right? Like, you got to make sure you're not coming in there and calling their baby ugly all the time. Like, hey, you got to walk this fine line and build that storyboard, and then execution's probably the most important thing. Like you were saying, is like, get the execution down so that you can start getting the scalability of those systems, right? And I think that, as you're getting into, let's say you've done that recap and you got the roadmap and you start implementing this stuff, what is the view for you around scalability when you start getting to that? What does that look like for you?
Scalability for the clients or for ourselves?
No, just as, let's say you go in there and you've worked with a client, and you got this core thing that you've figured out, and it's like they bought in, they're going through, and now it's like truly implementing at scale, right? Like taking that system and maximizing that process. What does that look like for you and your journey with the clients?
Well, when we come in, as you said, we create the roadmap, but then we extract information, we document, we create a documentation, we optimize it, and then we work with them on making sure that those processes are being followed by all across the organization. Once we roll it out and get the buy-in, we have an 8-step rollout process to make sure that the processes are actually being followed. Then we leave the clients with, either we come back for maintenance, or we leave the client and the process champion that we identified internally with a maintenance plan. And the maintenance plan will include how to utilize on the day-to-day management. And we do workshops on that as well. So that's part of the scalability. How to make sure the processes are being kept current. So that's part of the scalability, because it's something that doesn't go away. How to make revisions. How to add new processes. So all of that is all part of the package that we provide for clients.
Yeah, because you're kind of going in there, and I'm sure the maintenance side, that makes sense to me, because those habits are some of them could be 20, 30 years old with certain key employees, right? So the legacy thinking could be very challenging, I'm sure, to break the habits of a certain thing in a process. But, the consistency, do you find you're most successful when you have that like big champion that just creates a lot of consistency in addressing what you guys have uncovered when you're not there? Is that like something that you see
Absolutely.
where
We have to have somebody that will continue and maintain it, because it's not a one and done. Once let's say, for instance, we create your processes. So here I give you a playbook with all your processes that you have to follow. You know very well that changes are going to happen. You know very well that it has to be reviewed on a regular basis. You know that you will implement a new system and things will change, or you will hire somebody that has expertise in this area, and they decide, and then you decide that the process has to be a little bit different. So that all those things will happen, and you have to allow for those changes and make those changes.
What about on your end, walking into kind of I would say a mature but still growing organization, do you find yourself uncovering a lot of like burnout by poor processes? Do you
Oh,
see
yeah.
that a lot? Yeah. And they're quiet. They don't really say much. They're in it and they're not really open about it but they'll open up to you. They're like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this time. Right. Like, cause I could assume that happens more often than not, where you walk in and you see burnout and a lot of fatigue because of a poor process.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Because if you have poor processes, you can't fully execute, and that can be a problem. Yes.
When you have buy-in from your clients, do you feel like when you come back, like let's say 6 months later for a maintenance check-in, is it pretty if they've done what you've asked, is it pretty fun to watch
Oh, yeah.
the success?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's got to be so cool.
We love it. We love it. And we love to hear the success stories and hear, oh, yeah, we are maintaining it, or we were able to hire and train faster, or we reduced our errors to zero, or we are now able to open a new location. Absolutely. Yes. We live for those success stories, and it's great. Or we were able to implement and automate because we have those processes well documented. Yes.
Yeah, so you with that, you could probably see, when you're at the C-level group and you're coming in to assist and you kind of uncover that and they've done it, it probably gives a whole new perspective around, you know, consulting as leader, like basically bringing that into the leadership side and making them see their business from a whole different perspective. I would assume, because the
Absolutely.
weight, I can raise my hand. The weight that I felt at times, there was a time about 4 years ago where I could literally not breathe because the pressure was so heavy, and I was working. I was working a lot, and it just kept coming and coming because we had broken systems, right? So I'll raise my hand to that, right? We had really broken systems, and since then we've changed drastically because I couldn't live in those moments anymore. But I can tell you that, you know, during that time I could have used you, and I would have said, "Hey, come in to help uncover these bottlenecks," because it was weighting me down. It was to the point where we couldn't grow because of it. So it is if done right, I can see that being as a form of leadership. So you can give these C-level groups basically authority around what you've done for them, right? And they're going to start opening up new locations. You go, oh my gosh, maybe it's you brought in an ERP, or what, like you said, you brought in AI tools. Like they're looking at this stuff on spreadsheets today, right? And they're not thinking from a non-biased point of view. This is how we've always done it, and that weight because the clients, if you keep getting more clients, that weight's going to keep stacking up on the process, right? And then you're
Absolutely.
going to burn out, fatigue, the poor leadership because they're tired. And I'm going to raise my hand there because I've done that, right? So I got to assume that, for you, it's like implementation done right is like a form of consulting leadership, right? Once you're done, you're like, oh my gosh, these guys are going to see you as a perfect add-on to their business. They're not going to let you, if something else pops up, they're going to bring you back in, right?
Yeah,
Does that
absolutely.
happen?
They
Does,
will.
does, does it happen often for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We do
Um,
come back. We have returning clients. Yes.
so how do you balance strategy with execution when working with diverse teams? What does that look like for you?
I mean, we have our proven process that we follow. So
Okay.
we have, we come in with a strategy of how we're going to document everything. And then we have our methodology and our techniques of we meet with the teams on regular basis. We extract the information, we write it, we put it together. So it's all a balance of executing our plan.
So just for viewers, because I'm curious on this, if you were to say, hey, if someone sees this and is interested in bringing you on or wants to talk to you, what are the things that are important? I say, why do people fail when using consulting? And what do you think? Like, I understand you're saying, hey, the documentation stuff, but what would you say to the audience? Like, if hiring a consultant or here's the 5 things that are the most important when they show up for you, right? Because it's collaborative.
Yeah, you have to be aligned with the consultant. You have to make sure this is the right fit for you in terms of the values, in terms of what is being brought on, in terms of the methodology. So really understand that. So that's an understanding is very important. You have to be committed to the process. You have to know why you're doing it and decide that you're going to give it all you can. Don't come with an open mind of just being a spectator. Well, I'm going to do it for a month and then I'm going to see how it goes. It doesn't work. You have to be all in. You have to be all in. It doesn't mean that if you see that something doesn't work, that you don't say anything. Of course, say. So that's another thing, is open communication. And part of the open communication is communicate to your consultant of how you would like to be consulted. How do you want to be talked to? What kind of advice do you respond to? What are the most important traits for you from a consultant? Really defining it ahead of time will help avoid misunderstandings and problems in the future. So that would be my advice.
Okay. And as we kind of get wrapped down here, I got a question for you. And this is, we're very tech driven and technology is shifting. What does that look like on the consulting end with AI? I mean, everyone's moving extremely fast, right? What does that look like? Because that AI if used well, it's your kind of like your little, for me, it's my little assistant, right? Like, hey, I need this done quick. I don't think it's going to solve the world's problems, but it can help.
It will help solve the world problems because it will free up those that can solve the world problems not to be mired down in different little tasks or tasks that can be done, even not little, that can be tasks that can be done faster. I mean, we are very much adopting AI very fast. I'm part of an AI collective where this is exactly it. Like, we use AI as a thought partner. AI can be a strategic thought partner. It won't create a strategy for me, but using AI smartly and have it ask the right questions, that just speeds up the way that I can create things, and I look at things from different avenues. I have when I drive now, my drives are so efficient because I always talk to my AI. Unless I have a passenger and then I talk to the passenger, or if I have a phone call to make. But I talk to the AI, and that's how I come up with ideas for my articles, because I have it interview me, and I go, oh yeah, that idea, and then I develop it more and more. Still my thought process. I would not write an article, hey, write an article for me. No, because it's my original thought. But I'm doing it so much faster because I have somebody interviewing me and then give ideas or find I have this concept. Now do some research and find out research that was done that actually supports that. Oh yeah, 70% of people, blah, blah, blah. I'll go like, oh wow. Okay, what's the source of it? Boom, like in the past, I had to sit in front of my computer and do it. This is like interactive, and I can do it. I can do it when I exercise. I just like constantly, I can create so much more. And we are constantly figuring out how to use AI to deliver better to our clients, more, better quality. But it is, and we have AI policies that we created. Like, you always have to review what is written. We can't just send it out. But why not use AI? It's a tool to be used, but so long as you are the driver. It depends what zone you are in. If you're in a zone of fear, AI is going to take away my work, or it's going to be replace me as a consultant, that's a problem, because that can be, now you can ask AI, because a lot of the questions that in the past you might need the consultant is probably going to look at AI. The same thing with the doctor. You can go to ChatGPT and ask questions and get your answers. The doctor can also go to ChatGPT and get the same answers, because things change so fast. They have to stay on top of it, because it's not what they learned in school 20 years ago. It's like something new, right? So
100%.
But then how do you stay relevant? So you have to stay ahead. So as a consultant, to your point, when you're asking about consultants, so create a tool. Like, we created the AI guru, the process guru. So create a tool that can help your clients ask the questions and get you answers based on your expertise, based on research you already done or put together that they do not have the time to do it. As a marketing agency, as a marketing consultant, it's not like you're going to go away. Yes, people can use ChatGPT in order to write articles. Oh, yes, but they have to come up with ideas, so maybe you create a tool, help them create ideas. So you can always stay ahead, but you can't put your head in the sand and say it doesn't exist, and you should utilize it. It's the same thing as being stuck, the horse and carriage and a fast car. We have a fast car and we're going to use it, but you need to know how to drive it. You need to know what it's good for, how to follow the rules. And I think you got the point, but
Well,
definitely.
the funny thing is that you said this. So I say this all the time. There's a, my favorite thing is you go out, you probably see this a lot. You go to the business, right? In the front where the executives park, you see in the brand new Mercedes, BMWs, right? And you walk in their business and they got horse and carriage everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're going, wait a minute, man, you're driving the latest and greatest car, but your business is archaic and you're scared. Well, your car has AI in it, just so you know. Like that stuff is going to start. Siri is AI, right? Like all these things are built on structure. But I think one thing that you said is really important for the audience is like, listen, use the tool, right? But you can free yourself up to still have better emotional and communication with people. It takes all that weight off of you and opens your time up to go actually have deeper communication with people.
And that's what happened to me. Because I'm using it, I have more time. I've been to more in-person networking events. That's what I thrive on. I thrive on relationships, meeting new people, collaborating, and that's not going to go away. I mean, it can go away for some people that want to get stuck in front of the computer, but it's a choice you make. So I think those in-person events are going to become more and more because people are going to be more and more hungry for those relationships, but then you can increase make them much more relevant, and then you don't have to do the stuff that you don't like to do or takes a long time, or I think it's an evolution. It's a fast evolution, and you have to stay on top of it, and you have to be forward thinking, and you have to learn, and it's not easy, but if you embrace it, then it's great.
Exactly. And one last question. Any young entrepreneur consultant, what's the best advice you can give them for building like deep credibility?
Yeah, find your niche, find what your expertise is, and learn about it, become good at it, get results, get testimonials. I mean, it's all the proof is the testimonials, it's the return on investment. So get your few clients, get great results, get good testimonials, great testimonials, promote that, and figure out how you can become an expert in your area and what value you bring. And I think it's as simple as that.
Awesome. Well, Adi, thank you for sharing your wisdom and reminding us that great consulting isn't about knowing everything. It's about asking the right questions, building the right systems, and helping others grow beyond where they started. To our listeners, if you feel stuck or scattered, this episode is your cue to step back and find structure, because clarity isn't a luxury, it's strategy. Please follow Adi on all of her social media. Adi, which social media platforms are you on? Just so that
I'm on all of them, but LinkedIn, I'm the most active. So Adi Klevit, absolutely follow me. I have a lot of content that I put out and regarding processes, systems, systematization of a business.
Adi, we really appreciate your time and good luck in the future. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It was a fun episode.
All right. Take care. Thank you.